Hey everybody, Larry Lawton here. I got a great video with you today. I got Jessica Kent, my favorite woman YouTuber of all time. She's a good friend. I love her channel. She has a lot of good stuff going on there. Check it out over at Jessica Kent. Before I get started, check us out on member programs, Patreon, YouTube member programs, Discord, Instagram, TikTok. Don't forget my book, Gangster Redemption Goes Crazy, and all the stuff is in links right below. With that said, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me again.
You know, I've done an interview with you before, Jess. To give everybody a little bit of a background on Jess, she did time in prison and had a baby in prison. She was a drug addict, turned her life around, is clean and sober, and now she helps other people do the same thing. What's the most rewarding thing you've had since your YouTube career?
Seeing people go into treatment and come out sober, get their kids back. So, like, helping people would be the most rewarding part of it, or having people's mindset change. So my favorite comment to get is, you know what, I was really judgmental when it came to addicts in prison, and your channel gave me a different perspective. That's all I could hope for, is to have these conversations, bring awareness, and help have people's mindset change.
I love what you said there. I get a lot of emails of, I didn't know it was like that, or since you did this, I'm trying to help other people. I don't look at people differently anymore, or as different as they would say. What is your goals? You've built your channel to really one of the best YouTube channels with regard to helping people, ex-cons. A lot of ex-cons quit or go back, or that you haven't. I love that, your resilience. I have that same quality. What is your goal with it?
Oh man, the sky. How much does the earth cost? I think the goals is to keep creating content, but we're working on a screenplay, and I want a movie, I want a book. You know, I really want to take it as far as I possibly can. And I think it's important that my story gets out on all of these different platforms, you know, because no woman should ever have to go through what I went through in prison. No woman should be chained to a bed for 2 fucking days after they have a baby. It was grotesque, and it caused PTSD. So I'm diagnosed PTSD and ADHD now, but having my baby in prison was single-handedly the most traumatic experience of my life, and no woman should go through that. So the more I share my story, the more people understand, oh fuck, we need to change our prison system. Women shouldn't be going through that, you know, and I think that's a testament to your story too. Men should not be beaten in prison and pissed on in prison. So I think the more people come out and share their story of prison, the more awareness they'll bring, and that brings about change.
I often tell people, they say, ask the same question, and I say, with me, I want to build it to 10 million, 20 million, because I think a bigger platform will make us help change with politicians and the laws and the things that go on in our prison systems, which we both know. Now, I often say our prison systems are needed. Let's face facts. There's people in prison you never see want to get out. But it also needs to be rehabilitative. How did you become rehabilitated?
It's pure will, pure self-awareness, and just desire to not live that life. It wasn't a prison class that taught me how to be sober. It was just pure fucking willpower. After I saw my daughter, I thought, you need to stop being selfish. It's not about you anymore. You can't sell drugs and guns and raise a baby. So get out of the lifestyle. But on June 12th, 2012, when my daughter was born, that was the day that I retired. That was the official, I'm done, I'm here for my daughter, and I was laser focused on that.
You did that as young, because you're young now, and you did that 9 years ago, I guess, right? That's pretty impressive. Now I'm gonna give you a rough question. You had to like that life in a way.
Yeah.
You miss it?
No one's ever asked me that in an interview. I did like that life. I don't want to glorify it. I don't want to say that you should get into that lifestyle. And I've never publicly said how much money I've made, because again, people hear money and they don't think about consequences. But I did like it. When I was, 12 and 13, I meditated on these mobsters, and I loved it. I loved all the movies, Casino and Goodfellas, and I just fucking loved that stuff. I'm born and raised in upstate New York, in a really shitty town with no money, no, you know, no economic ladder. People are poor where I'm from. It's 200% below the poverty line. We're in Section 8 housing for the most part. It's a lot of shit. And I moved around, and again, that's not justifying why I got into that lifestyle, but who the fuck wants to be poor? You know, there's no nobility in poverty, right? Didn't, what's his face say that? So I hated it.
Did prison help you get off? Because we both know there's more drugs in prison than there are on the streets. I always talk about that. Prison doesn't help a drug addict. It only can make him deeper, get into debt, and then he's doing something to somebody or whatever. He has to sell himself or whatever. At that point, what made you get out? I understand the baby, but at 21, at 23 at that time, what made a 23-year-old? I could have never quit at 23.
Yeah, it really was my daughter. But to back up a little bit, I caught my first felony at 17. And because I took it, I didn't snitch, I did my time and came out, I had a little badge of honor. And it kind of reaffirmed in my area that I wasn't to be fucked with, that I can go do a bid, I can do my time, not snitch on where I got the stuff, and come out good. People respected me and looked at me differently. And that moment where you would think a 17-year-old kid getting locked up, first felony charge, that would be like attention grabbing, right? Like you don't want to go back. No, fuck no, I didn't care. I didn't like getting locked up, but I understood that I'm small, I'm a female in a male-dominated world, and if they know that I'm tough and I can do a bid and I'm not gonna rat, I'm gonna have a better reputation. That helped me build a little mini empire of drug dealing. So you asked, you know, if I liked it. I did, because I was underestimated, grew up poor, no one thought that I would do anything or be anything, and I wanted to make money, and I wanted to tell everyone that doubted me to go fuck themselves. And the only way I saw how to do that was through money. So I had runners that worked for me, and we sold a lot of drugs in upstate New York.
What kind of drug did you sell?
I sold heroin.
Heroin. The big H, that's the biggest drug in prison too. You know, that's where I saw a lot of people. I've seen guys die, seen guys ask to die, and guy give it to them, and they do it. So I've seen a lot with the H, we used to call it whatever. Horse, H, you can name a lot of things. Well, let's get back to your prison days. You're tiny. You're a beautiful little girl. Were you tried in prison?
Was I tried? Oh, all the time. I'd get moved to a new dorm, and, you know, they'd look at me and think that I'm small, or they could, you know, take my stuff. So yeah, I was tried several times, you know, and getting locked up in New York, and then I did, you know, a few overnights in Texas. I did some time in Arkansas, and you know, you have to prove that you're not to be fucked with, and that's not an easy task when you weigh 120 pounds. So I've been in a lot of fights, both on the street and in prison.
How did you fight? Did you fight dirty? Like, I always tell people there's no such thing as a fair fight. I don't care, I hit people with mop ringers, did a crazy shit. What have you done in prison to like hit a person with a can, or hit a person with something, or you know how that works? What is your...
My strategy for fights was to hit first, just get the upper hand. I have been jumped and blindsided and lost fights. I've gotten my ass kicked, so that's not always a great plan now that I think about it. But yeah, it would depend on the situation. For me, a lot of women, in my experience, wanted to scream and run their mouth and cause a scene, and I learned really quickly that if you punch them in the face, then you're gonna get the upper hand and you're gonna win. So I've won a lot of fights just on having the balls to swing, because a lot of women, just again, in my experience, I've met some fierce, tough bitches that I would never be able to win in a fight. Strong women. But when you're willing to throw the first punch, and you give no fucks, and you have more balls than everyone else, you're going to create a name for yourself in prison. Male, female, it doesn't matter. And people knew pretty quickly that I was willing to, I'll go to the hole. I'll go to the hole for 30 days to prove my point. You know, and that's kind of the inmate that I had to be, because I'm small, and people thought because I kept to myself that I'm stuck up and I didn't really want to associate with a lot of people very often. That's not true. I'm an introvert and I don't like people, but I'm not stuck up, you know, so I did have a lot of issues with that sense, whether that was jealousy, or I was getting out sooner than others, or I would try to stick up for people, and that's dangerous in prison. You never know if sticking up for someone's going to cause other fights. So I know.
Or if that person's a rat, or that person's a child molester, or whatever it goes down to. Here's a question my audience wanted me to ask you. Are child molesters in a female prison treated the same way they are in a male prison?
No.
Really? They're, what, given a pass?
They're almost, in certain situations, if they don't talk about their case and they leave everyone alone, in most cases, they'll be left alone. It's funny, we both served time in Arkansas, right? And we both were kicked out of medium security facilities. So I beat up a chomo in Arkansas in a medium security, and I was kicked out and sent back to the max. And the situation with her was, I'm a nerd and I like to read, you know, legal material, and I was helping some people with appeals because I don't have shit better to do. And Arkansas law was really weird in comparison to New York state law. I can tell you backwards and forwards New York state. It's black and white, it makes sense. Arkansas doesn't make any sense. So I would study a lot, go to the law library, and I loved it. Well, this chomo, and I didn't know her exact case, but she came up to me and said, I need some help with this appeal, I want to get a sentence reduction. And I said, all right, I'll get to it when I help these other people. And I kept putting it off because all I had heard was she has a bad case. She has a bad case. Her crime was bad. And I can put two and two together. I'm not stupid. I know what it means to have bad charges in prison. It either means you're a rat or you're a chomo. So finally, I just couldn't ditch her anymore. And she comes up to me, and I'm sitting at this metal table in the day room, and she slides me her paperwork, and she goes, New York, I just need your help. They called me New York because where I was from.
Really? In New York, they're calling you?
No, I was in Arkansas at this time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so when you're doing time in a different state and you're not from there, they call you where you're from. So she's like, New York, I need your help on this. So I'm like, fuck. Like, she's in my face with her paperwork. And now, for two reasons, I'm going to read it. One, I'm fucking curious. And two, you won't get out of my face about it. So I start to read it, and it was the most grotesque case I've ever read. It's the worst case I've ever even heard about to date. It was violent, horrific sexual abuse of her infant daughter. So I had just given birth 2 months prior, maybe 3 months prior, and I am shaking. I'm so mad. And what I do is, I'm like, if you beat her up in the day room, you are so fucked. So I slide the paperwork over to her, and I said, you need to get out of my face. And now that triggers her, and she gets crazy mad. She stands up and she goes, fuck you, and she's screaming at me, you fucking drug dealer, like all this shit, right? You're a chomo. What do you mean you're screaming about me being a drug dealer? You hurt your fucking child. And I'm like, just stay calm.
Infant child.
Infant.
This got me
baby.
mad.
I know, baby. So I'm trying to stay calm, and I said, get the fuck away from me. And she finally does. And I don't raise my voice, I don't stand up, I don't even look up at her, because I don't want control to see her, like us going at it, right? So, contrary to popular belief, women go to prison, or women go to the hole, even on verbal shit. If it looks like it's gonna escalate, they'll take you. So I can't go back and forth with her. I try to go to rec, she follows me out there, she's talking shit, she's been to prison before, she kills people, she's a drug dealer, blah, blah, blah. I didn't kill anybody. But she's screaming about it in her little group of people. And I'm in my group of people like, I'm gonna fucking kill her. Like, this is bad. I'm gonna fucking kill her. I can't sleep in this dorm. I'm in an open dorm. I can't sleep in this fucking dorm with her.
How do they put you in an open dorm? Is that a max?
It's a medium.
Oh, medium.
Yeah.
They didn't even have open dorms in our mediums.
Did they not?
No. Not even in the lows don't have it.
Yeah.
The camps, they call them.
Oh, yeah, we had open.
They do in some lows have kind of more people, but not in an open. I don't know what I never seen an open door. I mean, I've seen them, never been in one.
They're awful, terrible. So we go back in from rec, and I go into the bathroom. She follows me to the bathroom, and she pushed me, and that's all I needed. I didn't even need that. Walk past me, bitch, in the bathroom. Just fucking walk past me, it's going down. So I start fighting with her, and at some point she's on the ground, and I'm hitting her as fast as I can, as hard as I can. There's blood. She's getting shots up at me. She was significantly bigger than me. She, like,
wow, I think everyone's bigger than you.
Yeah, I'm 125. She was probably 175, 180.
You're 125 now?
Yeah.
Less than that.
You want to get a scale?
Maybe.
So I'm small. So I'm on top of her, and I'm beating her as fast as I can, as hard as I can. and she's getting shots up at me, and she's kind of trying to twist and turning it away from me, and it's just fucking, it feels like it's going on forever, right? And I just have tunnel vision. Well, no one tells me that the cops are in the dorm. No one says anything. No one says 5-0. No one says anything to warn me. And I feel a guard I feel a person grab my shoulder. I think it's another inmate. So immediately I'm like, someone's trying to help this bitch. I don't look back because I'm focused. I'm busy. And I go like this to get this person away from me, and I hit a female guard in like the chest plate because she was trying to get me off, and I went bam. And as I did that, I went bam, and then in just slow motion, I felt like I just hit a fucking guard. So in the next second, I was pepper sprayed, and I was snot is like flowing out of my face, tears, I'm losing it, and I'm like, everyone's gonna think I'm crying because of this fight, and that's embarrassing. And they cuff me and they drag me out of the dorm, and I can't even see. I can't open my eyes, they're burning. I mean, imagine getting like a jalapeno pepper dust in your eye or juice in your eye times 100. I'm in so much pain, and I'm thinking, as a New Yorker, they're gonna help me. They have to like get this shit off of me. They don't even take me to medical. They throw me in the hole, and I'm like, what the fuck? So now I'm like crawling to get to the sink to try to rinse out my eyes, and it hurt for a long time. And to make matters worse, they put this bitch in the cell next to me. So our fucking vents are connected, and she's still screaming, and I'm screaming back at her, and it was just awful. And I was transferred out and sent back to the max.
It's funny because I've been pepper sprayed, maced, I've been concussion grenaded, I've been shocked, I've been all that. Yeah. And people you just brought back memories. When you get pepper sprayed, you're laying on the floor, you're burning, the snot's coming out of you. Oh my God, it's the worst feeling. You can't breathe, you don't want to breathe. It burns so much, it's like a burning. And it's amazing that, obviously, again, they don't treat you great and put you in, get you in to get it off or whatever they use. They even have a solution for it. They don't do that shit, whatever that. They don't give a shit. Let's face facts. So after you beat the shit out of this chomo, you go back to now this is in Arkansas. Did your reputation follow you?
A little. So this completely delusional human being, this disgusting, horrible human being, decided that she was like in the right in this. So we get sent back to the max, and you know how the rumor mill is.
Oh, she did too?
Yeah, we both got sent back.
To the same max? Mm-hmm. Are you kidding me?
So there's not a lot of facilities for women. There's a lot less for women than there are men. We're fucking stuck with each other now. So we get sent back to the max, and they put her in the same housing unit as me. Not the same dorm, but the same housing unit. So I have to see this bitch, right, at rec and all these other, we run into each other a lot if you're in the same housing unit. Eventually she was transferred and moved to a different wing, but the rumor mill starts. Everyone knows that I beat up this person, and I'm probably gonna do a whole video on her. It's taken me a long time to it's hard to talk about what she did, but I think it's important because women do this too, and we need to protect children. So I'm probably gonna make a video on it, but it's hard. So she started to say that I was threatening her life every day. So she put in Arkansas what they call an enemy alert out on me. That just means that I've threatened to kill this person. I've beat her up, so there's documentation of it, and it goes in my jacket, which goes to the parole board. So now she's trying to fuck with my time, right? And she's trying to get this put in my jacket so it looks like I'm not rehabilitated, right? So I had problems with her for much longer, a long time after that fight. But yes, in short, people knew that I beat her up.
I mean, I don't understand. In a men's prison, and I've set this up, where they drop a buffer from the second fucking tier, a heavy buffer, on this guy's head, crushed him. Not a word was said. Everybody, seen a lot of that, because they're not accepted, period. Because we all as men think, as women, we have children. My biggest fear in prison wasn't me. It was something happening in my kids when I was in prison, because I had young kids. Something happening to them where I couldn't be out there. Obviously, as a survivor of abuse myself, it pisses me off more than ever. And the infant stuff just baffles me, number one. I mean, any child shit baffles me. I talked about I don't believe, I think there's really a screw missing, because Larry Lawton couldn't get a hard-on or an erection to fuck a girl who don't want me, even any rape.
Right.
I could not have sex with a woman who doesn't want me, or a guy, or anything. You will get where it's at. My point is, there's some sick shit. How does a man, you ever hear men raping an infant? It blows your mind. Now, a woman too, whatever, it's not an erection, obviously, but it's something that's twisted. You know, you would think the prison system would get rid of this girl too. They shouldn't like her either.
Oh no, the guards were happy that she was leaving the facility, and I was still in the hole.
So when you were in the hole, was it like when I used to fuck somebody up or do something, the guards say, "Yeah, good for you, Lawton."
Yes.
Fucking A.
Yep.
Did they do that to you? Hey, Cat, good for you. Fuck that bitch up.
Yeah, I got an extra tray here and there, a couple of extra biscuits and breakfast for a little bit, but that dies quick. So the guards are bored too, you know. So they're like, "Oh man, I'm glad you got her." I'm like, "Cool, let me the fuck out of here." Like, what do you mean? Why do I have to go back to the max? It's cushy here. They don't turn the lights on until 9 a.m. Like, I want to stay here.
What kind of prison is that? I've never been in one of those.
So yeah, it was short-lived. It was a window of time.
How long did you have to spend with that? I don't know if I could have did it. I really don't.
How long did I live in the dorm with her?
Yeah, I don't know if I could have did it myself without fucking her up again.
Just a few months.
Especially her talking shit.
Oh, how long did I live with her after I knew?
Yeah, no, not only it, no. You fuck her up. You get transferred to the same prison.
Yeah.
Did you transfer together?
Yes.
In the same van?
Same van.
How the fuck can you do that without telling I'm gonna kill you when you get off this fucking bus, you bitch?
I might have said I'm gonna kill you. That's why she put an enemy alert out. But I'm chained up. What am I gonna do?
When I get out of these things.
Oh, I was mad.
I mean, you have to go to cell. Like, you know this. When you go to prison, you go into the cage to get shaken down, and now you're in there alone with her again.
We did everything together. The van, we were in seg together in the medium, next door cell. We do the van, the transport together, and they have to take you out to chain you up. So I'm standing in the shoe with her, and then they put us in the van, then they put us in Sallyport, and we go through the intake process, and they're going through our stuff, and she is like right here. She's right next to me because she has to be. So we're going through all of that together, and it was not easy.
I've never heard of it, and it's the first I hear that, because of course, they fuck up a guy like that in our prison. He's gone somewhere. We don't know. They don't even transfer both of them usually. One gets transferred. And as much to the fighting I did, and that's funny because you said in fighting, some guy goes, "I never lost a fight." I said, "You just never fought the right guy, motherfucker, because you will lose." I fought a lot, and I don't care who you are, you will lose.
Yeah, I've been jumped a couple of times, had my ribs cracked, I've broken my nose twice, I've had concussions, I've had stitches 13 times. I've been fucked up. I've lost some fights.
Oh, absolutely. People will get fucked up. That's just life. One last question with this. How's your daughter doing?
My daughter is good. She is 9 years old, and I have full custody, and we're living our best life. We were actually blessed with a second daughter, so now we have Micah, who's 9, who was with me when I was incarcerated, well, while I was pregnant, and then we have Riley, who's 5.
And they're doing good?
They're so good.
Do they know you're a YouTuber?
They do. Micah knows. It's not just me. Like, my YouTube channel is in large part because of Micah, right? I wouldn't be here without her. So I make sure that they know it's not just my success, it's our success. We did this, our story did this. You know, so I can't take credit for it. Like, it's without including them, right? Like, they're the reason I changed my life. Micah first, and then obviously Riley is, you know, the younger, and she didn't experience that kind of stuff, but
I'm gonna push back on that. And the reason I'm gonna push back is they're your motivation.
yeah.
But your success is because of your hard work, your determination, you're getting up early, you're pushing out a lot of great content, you're doing things that people on YouTube know and respect. And that's why YouTube does so well. And it's growing at a great pace, and I love watching it. I love seeing you, and I want to see your next stage in life. Because we have our YouTube, we have our stuff, but you got a great message, and that's important to keep pushing that out. Anything you want to say to my audience?
I love you, and I can't wait to film again, and you're invited to the wedding, so you better be there.
When is it?
You're going to get your invite soon.
Off air, you tell me that.
But thank you guys for listening to my story. Every time we collab, y'all are so nice to me, so I appreciate the kindness.
Anyway, that is Jessica. Check her YouTube out. She has a great YouTube channel. It's Jessica Kent. Just Google it. You'll get it. She has great content on Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. She's killing it, and she should be. Thanks again, Jess, for coming here. We're having a great time in Florida. Thanks for watching. If you have any suggestions, always know I answer after every video. Put them in below. Check them out. Check all her stuff out. She has some great stuff on her channel as well. Her merch, everything else. Have a great day, everyone. Make one good choice a day. It multiplies. See you soon.